So today we will be doing a quick recap of superimposition. What is Adhyasa Drishti? Adhyasa Drishti is basically the Swapna Nidra Jnana Sadhana seeing, direct seeing of what Adi Shankaracharya gave in Adhyasa Bhashya. Adhyasa Bhashya was the introduction to Brahma Sutras that Adi Shankaracharya elaborated on. He gave a very potent reason why we get confused. Why is there the confusion between Brahman and the body-mind person? Why does Brahman get confused? That is the most important principle of Advaita Vedanta. That's the beginning point, right? From Brahman, the confusion begins. So he gave a very potent reasoning that it is adhyasa, simply meaning superimposition, which is used always. It's not that Adi Shankaracharya was the first to talk about it. Even scriptures before Adi Shankaracharya, they spoke about the rope and snake example. We all know that. We've also heard it in Ashtavakra and in the Upanishads as well. So the concept of superimposition predated Adi Shankaracharya, but he elaborated on adhyasa, explaining exactly how it happens, answering questions of people who were not clear about how adhyasa can really confuse Brahman. Yeah, that was their main question, and similar questions on similar lines. Now, when he explained it, he explained only at an intellectual level. Remember, the one who's asking the question, he's not sitting in samadhi and asking a question from that angle of a samadhishta. No. He is a debater. He wants to bring Adi Shankaracharya down. So it's at an intellectual level that the debate happens. So the entire Adhyasa Bhashya was explained by Adi Shankaracharya at an intellectual level. But of what use is it to me if I am a samadhishta? If I am somebody who is walking on the direct path and I want to get there by my own seeing, not by memorizing Adi Shankaracharya, how will I get there? The only way is Swapna Nidra Jnana Sadhana, and seeing that happen in Samadhi and then seeing what happens in Samadhi in Swapna Nidra Jnana Sadhana. So one gives confirmation to the other. And that's how I become clear in my own direct seeing that yes, what Adi Shankaracharya said is correct. I move from believing in what Adi Shankaracharya said at the intellectual level in Adhyasa Bhashya with the help of Swapna Nidra Jnana Sadhana, tips given in Adhyasa Drishti. So we'll do from the point of view of SNGS, Adhyasa Drishti. This is a recap of points 1 through 35 only from the point of view of Swapna Nidra Jnana Sadhana, so as to keep the intellectual stuff aside and focus only on whether I really see. The example is very clear, you know this, that in the darkness, when a snake appears to be a harmful element on my path, fear arises. Yes, I jump, I react, and then I look carefully, or some light comes up suddenly, and oh, it's a rope. And it fizzles away. The fear goes away, the jumping, the fright, that reaction fizzles away. Even the perception of sight of that snake fizzles away. And I see, oh, only the rope is. This is exactly what happens at that last point of self-realization. The entire journey is only about collecting insights. You collect insights, you see, and at the end, suddenly there is the direct seeing of the final truth. Seeing that it is a rope happens in a flash. Do you see that? Yeah. But the whole thing about, is it a snake, is it a rope, all that doubt between, oh, is it a snake? Should I be afraid? Should I go from here? What should I do? That whole thing, that is the part of collecting insights. And when you suddenly see it's a rope, even all the insights that I've collected, their purpose has been met. So all that drops at the end. So do you recognize that self-realization is something that happens in a flash, but it happens because of the collection of the insights that I did all the way along. But the final seeing is one step, one flash, one sparkle, one big aha moment. When I recognize, oh, only Brahman is there, is no body-mind world. This entire collecting insights, what was that? Yes, that is the SNGS sadhana that we are going to talk about. Because you keep collecting these insights. By collecting, I mean you see them. In your direct seeing, you become aware of these few glimpses of reality here and there, which you were ignoring earlier. Nothing manufactured suddenly new. I was only ignoring. Why was I ignoring? Because I had assumed. What had I assumed? I had assumed isness. Body, mind, world is. This is the biggest assumption. It is. This isness attribute of Brahman was first superimposed on the body, mind world. I'm starting from Vaker. From Vaker, I'm going to go to Brahman. Yeah, I'm not starting from Brahman. So I had assumed isness here. That was the problem. From the perspective of the body mind, Brahman was not. There was no Brahman, nothing. From the perspective of Brahman, body mind is not that I see now. Do you recognize this? Those who had that glimpse of the I arising from deep sleep and collapsing into deep sleep, there is that sudden recognition, oh, I am beyond that witness consciousness, that sense of I. Oh, that is what I am. That recognition of who I am, what I am, also brings the recognition that I am not conscious of body, mind, world, perception, sensation, thought, feeling. I am the not consciousness field. So from the point of view of Brahman, body, mind is not, world is not. There was only a bondage. That was the belief that all this is real. Body, mind, world is real. And this bondage was because I did not know I am Brahman. Ignorance of my own true self. I had a very strong belief, no, this illusory waking world is my reality. There was a duality, I and the world. This apparent duality was my issue. Now, after I see that the I collapses in me, the not consciousness, and arises out of me, the not consciousness, now I recognize that, oh, there is no duality there. Even that I that arises is me only. A drop that arises in the ocean is made of the same water as the ocean. So anything that arises in this drop, in that sense of I am flying in the sky with my friends, I like pizza, I am running away from the tiger. Then I am the waker in the waking world, and this is my role in the family. This is my family member. Whatever arose inside that drop was another drop made of the same water. Now I see. None of these can taint Brahman because they are all the same water drops. It's like, imagine a water drop is not like a circular bubble. It has multiple circles, concentric circles within it, all made of the same water. All made of the same water. They cannot taint Brahman. They cannot hurt Brahman. But I couldn't see this earlier. I couldn't see this non-duality earlier. Now I see it. So see from where you recognize it. Certain aspects from the weaker side, when you're coming up, you recognize. Certain aspects you recognize only when the I collapses into the deep sleep and I comes out of the deep sleep. Clear? So now we are contrasting, coming from the weaker towards Brahman and coming from Brahman towards weaker. We're contrasting these. Did I have to give up Ekta's body, mind and Ekta's world to get there? No, I used Ekta's body, mind as a medium to get there. I did not have to cast this away. These are not inherently independent. It cannot be cast away. So that whole idea of, oh, I have to leave my world, leave everything to get to Brahman, is a wrong idea, is a Dvaitam idea. The reality of Brahman needs to be seen while in the world. This illusion of body-mind is only a veil, like a curtain. It is veiling Brahman. I have to only remove the veil. That's it. And to remove the veil, only knowledge can help. And what was the knowledge? The first step was recognizing I am not the body-mind person called Ekta. I am the witnessing field in which Ekta, the waker, arises at the beginning of the waking state. And at the end of the waking state, she's gone. But I am there. I am there. That was the antidote. Yes, that was the first antidote. The first, like your vaccines had doses, like that. This antidote has doses. That was the first dose. Very important dose. It antidoted that first poison of ignorance, of thinking, oh, I am this body-mind person called Ekta. Now the I shifted. It shifted. Of course, because of old lust of becoming, there was again the shift back to Ekta. And no, I am. Then I started understanding, because I had got to the witness level, then only you start understanding. I started understanding what? Oh, there is a lust for becoming. And that lust for becoming first localizes a subtle I sense. And then that I sense itself objectifies as a subtle dream body in a dream world. And then that I sense projects itself as a gross physical body in a physical world. All this you start seeing only when you get established at the witnessing stand. Do you recognize this? Then it becomes very clear, oh, this body-mind person and its world is only a misconception. It's born of a memory like impressions. Impressions are nothing but samskaras embedded deep, and they come up. And that misrepresentation, the body-mind world, this whole misrepresentation, this has been taken as the absolute truth. This is a misrepresentation caused by the samskara, little seed that has been buried deep into the consciousness. Remember, it's a collective consciousness. It's got nothing to do with the person Ekta. This person Ekta doesn't create the first samskara and embed it. The person Ekta is in fact an arising that appears from that seed of samskara. Do you see this? Actually only the body arising comes, then the thought comes, then the feeling comes. There is no person. I just created, memory creates a story, weaving it together, making it a seed and then putting it in the soil. That is samskara. It's going to sprout later again. This whole mechanism is of the consciousness. It has got nothing to do with one person or one individual. It is a collective consciousness. This collective consciousness triggers superimposition. From that superimposition, certain types of conditioning arise. What types of conditioning? First, I am this body mind. You start seeing, oh, no. The consciousness characteristic of Brahman is superimposed on the insentient body mind. Body mind is not sentient. There is just one arising. Body sensation comes, speaks, goes away. Thought comes, speaks, goes away. Why does it go away? Because it has only that much charge. Gets charged and it goes off. Gets charged and it goes off, like that. So by itself, the body arising, the thought arising, the feeling arising, all that constitute the idea of a person, they do not have enough charge or consciousness of their own. Consciousness is borrowed. Yes, that's why this body appears to be all conscious and sentient right now. Oh yes, see, it has so much energy. And that's why when I was on the Dvaitam path, I was taking energy from the bottom of the spine to the top of the head. No, all imagination. It was required for me to start turning inwards. It was Dvaitam. Now I've become clear at the Advaitam level that no, it is a superimposition. That so-called energy that I felt at the body-mind person level is a superimposition. Consciousness is a characteristic of Brahman, not of this body or the thought or the feeling. These things start opening up. You start seeing everything as just an arising. Just an arising. There is no more confusion. But whenever the eye slips again from the witnessing back to the body, again you start feeling, oh, I am the body. Then you feel, oh, I am going to die. Now what have you done? The characteristic of this body you superimposed on Brahman. The opposite. The other way I went now. Oh, but Brahman is deathless. This I see now. Did I see it at the beginning of my journey? No. Now when the eye collapses into deep sleep, when it comes out of the deep sleep, I realize, oh, that is death. And death is daily. This helps me overcome the fear of death completely. Yeah? When this gets established very clearly, I have complete conviction in my seeing. So those who don't have conviction, they will not be able to get over the fear of death. So you should make a little note for yourself. If I still have the fear of death, this means that my seeing of I coming out of deep sleep and dissolving back into deep sleep and disappearing, that is not very clear. So then, getting over the fear of death is the ultimate goal. Please remember that's number one goal of Swapna Nidra Jnana Sadhana. Number one goal. There is no other greater goal than getting over the fear of death. When the fear of death will go, the fear of changing, this body changing, growing, aging, and decaying, there is disease, all that will also go. The change, there is a fear of change. Oh, I'm getting all white hair. Oh, my body cannot run the way it used to run. Oh, this is happening. Oh, I am not smart. Now I cannot think as fast as I used to think earlier. All these ideas that come up. No. All I am superimposing, all these changes of the body-mind level on Brahman. I am Brahman. I have realized I am that not consciousness. It's so clear. It's so clear. So in not consciousness, there is no question of changing, growing, aging, decaying, dying. All this doesn't apply. Oh, now I see. Now I see. Like that, you have to become very clear in your conviction, not in Ekta's words. Yes? Move away from believing in Ekta to having conviction in your own seeing. That is the most important. Then you will get out of all these superimpositions, especially the ones that you borrow from the body, mind, and the world, and you slap on poor Brahman. He is not going to experience any death, any decay. Doesn't touch him. Yeah, but you're saying, no, now he's also going to die when you say, I am going to die. You cannot use such words going forward. You cannot use such words. Ekta needs to be spoken about in the third person. Ekta will die, but I will not die. Ekta will age. I will not age. Ekta will get some disease, will decay. I will not get any disease or decay. That clarity must come up. Very important. And when there is an attack of some disease, something new, some new diagnosis from the doctor, that's the moment of test. Do you recognize? Oh, Ekta has been diagnosed with this, not me. Not me. I cannot be diagnosed of anything. None of this touches me. Clarity must set in. Then only you know, yes, my Swapna Nidra Jnana Sadhana has worked. And it is reflecting in my open-eyed routine. Very clear? That's how all duality, multiplicity that you were superimposing on Brahman, you stop doing it. You had also superimposed form on Brahman, no? When you said, I am sick. I am sick means only form gets sick. Can formlessness get sick? No. So you had superimposed form also on Brahman with that fear. So you start recognizing these little things. These are just a few examples that have been elaborated upon, because this is where the major dukkha is, in change, in disease, in growing old and death. Come to a point and recognize all this cannot touch me. So then you know, overcoming the fear of death is the success, the trophy that you get from Swapna Nidra Jnana Sadhana. So, okay, fantastic. You did a great job. The same thing starts reflecting in your samadhi. In your samadhi, even though the eyes are closed, the waker is alert. The waker is there. The waking state is there. The waker is realized as only a body arising that appears and disappears. I continue. Then I realize, oh, there is no continuous one chunk waking state. Then I start seeing, oh, there was only a slice of waking right now where the body arising appeared in samadhi and disappeared. The thought of the waker, whatever he's talking to himself, appeared and disappeared. That little waking slice is gone. The waker has disappeared. Yeah, there is a little dream slice maybe. Only a thought is there, only a garbled feeling. You cannot understand it. Something floating somewhere up above on the surface, and you are somewhere deep absorbed in samadhi. Happened? You don't know what it is. It is something. Some movement, but I don't recognize what the thought is of or what that feeling is of. That it has started reflecting in your samadhi. Right there from the waking slice, you've moved to the dream slice. And right there, completely thoughtlessness, bodilessness. That is deep sleep. Right there in your samadhi, you start seeing that there is no one single chunk of waking. Now you take this from your closed-eyed samadhi to open-eyed. Can I recognize it here? Can I recognize it here? When you become very clear, oh, the body arising appears only when I take my focus here. Yeah, it's like the witnessing field suddenly focusing, moving its spotlight onto the body. Then the body arising is there. If it moves its spotlight to the thought, there's only thought. There is no body. The body has disappeared. Oh, it's so clear even in the waking. There's only one perception at a time. And in the waking, suddenly there's a zoning out. I am, yet I am not. That is the deep sleep. Now you start seeing, oh, all my Swapna Nidra Nyan Sadhana has automatically seeped into Samadhi. My Samadhi, closed-eyed Samadhi, has now seeped into open-eyed Samadhi. Yeah, it's all becoming one. Then you know that it is really working for me.